I started this 3 years ago. It's just like a small. I mean, I wanted to get into gaming. I saw the gaming industry was really taking off. I thought what was happening with real time graphics in general and Unreal Engine in particular was really cool. And I wanted to make a new kind of game. I was just really tired of medieval games and like cyberpunk and stuff like that. So I thought, let's just do something like really, really weird. I started putting together a small team, but with the idea of making a traditional game. Like, let's just make a small studio, like a small indie studio, release a game and grow from there. And hopefully we have success and we just keep going. And then last summer, when we saw what was happening with blockchain, it was just like, all right, I mean, better to be lucky than good. It's like, okay, we're right in the middle. Like, there's a revolution is about to start, and we're like right in the place where we can pivot. So we just saw that we had to switch to blockchain. It's just going to totally change the gaming industry, and the traditional studios are very hesitant. Like, like they're just not seeing it. They're like the gaming industry is just booming, right? They've got like record profits and everything. So like, why are they going to change? They see all they see is downside. I think that's probably starting to change now. So we pivoted. We switched to blockchain. We went through the Stacks Accelerator. We started working with the team at the Stacks blockchain, and we like those guys a lot. I'm a big believer in Bitcoin, so it made a lot of sense. Now we've pivoted to Ethereum first. I think we're still working with Stacks, and we're going to support them when the time is right. Right now, the timing isn't quite right for what we want to do. But that's basically how it started. Didn't intend to make a blockchain company, but just sort of worked out that way.
No, that's awesome. And like, so when did you did a raise through Republic in like August or 2021?
We did a raise. Well, yeah, it was 2021. I think it started like in May 2021 and ended in August. And then we went through the Stacks Accelerator, and then we did then we actually raised money from VCs and stuff starting in September. That's when we really started raising money, because the thing with Republic is we were still a traditional studio at that point. So it was like traditional pay to play model, etc. And then starting in September, we were officially had completely pivoted to blockchain. So we did like a regular raise.
Gotcha. And so that's like the backing with Animoca partnership that they're kind of
exactly. That's when all the crypto VCs came in, and then we just started scaling up a lot, because we were probably like 10 core members, in 2021, with another like 5 people that would help out from time to time. And then in September, when we started raising, then we really started growing the team. I mean, now the team is like 50 people.
Oh, nice. Well, you got my question out of the way there. So you have designers, tech people, tokenomics, game devs, just random weirdos all working together?
Yeah, basically, and all over the world. I mean, like, so a lot of the game dev team is in Europe. The game designers, all 3 of them happen to be in Sweden. I guess you get. I mean, we recruit a lot through word of mouth, so I guess it's not random. I mean, like friends bring friends and that kind of thing. Artists all over the place. So we're going to start doing like a comic book. The comic artists are here. They're in the U.S. Then we've got some guys in Asia, guys in Australia. And we basically coordinate on Discord. Yeah. I mean, like we have like our own internal Discord server, and then we use like tools like we use a tool called Perforce for what's it called? Code, maintaining code essentially.
For sure. Okay. And like, man, we've seen some of the gameplay videos of the designs of everyone's pretty hyped on. I see that you have really awesome like shares on Instagram that is not directly related with the game. Are you doing stuff with the comic to like build out the lore of the game, or like how would you see that connection?
Yeah, so we are going to we're redoing the comic website now. So right now it's pretty simple, but we're basically going to put out something like 4 pages per week, and we're just going to put those out on a regular basis. And the idea is the comic book is sort of like tip of the spear in building the world and the ideas. The comic artists that are working with us. Brandon Graham is the lead writer and the lead comic artist on the thing, and he did a comic book called Prophet, which I always talk about. But if you guys have never read Prophet, definitely go check it out. I think they did like 30 books total, roughly, and it was really cool. I mean, it was like, as far as sci-fi goes, it was like the best sci-fi comic I've read, because it was just really far out there. It was like way out there, you were used to comic books, and it's like, it's like more like Star Wars kind of stuff, but this was more like, like the technology is all psychic. Humans are like totally like, sure. Like they barely even look human anymore. Everyone's a clone. Like they really went nuts. So So he's just got like really crazy ideas for the story. So he's basically leading the charge on coming up with really cool story ideas. And I think the comic book is essentially always going to be like 6 months ahead of the game or even more. And then the game team is picking ideas from the comic book and then figuring out, okay, how do we make, let's build a quest around this idea or around that idea, or let's build an environment around this idea, that kind of thing.
Cool. So like that ties into the timeline you got going with like a closed alpha coming in Q2, hopefully
We're
still,
just
and
weeks
open
away.
beta
Yeah.
this
I mean,
summer.
we're putting the finishing touches on it right now. So, I mean, we're thinking like early to mid May. So maybe like 3, 4 weeks from now.
Okay, awesome. I see that in your. Just to explain the mint a little bit, which I thought was so. You have different tiers of the characters. Is that gonna? There's a gold one for people that have the pre-sale pass. You have
Yeah, but that's gonna
a
be
WoW
for the
list, and
Genesis.
then a
Yeah,
skin.
but that's gonna be
Okay.
for the Genesis drop. This really technically isn't the Genesis drop. Initially, we're thinking we're just gonna do the Genesis drop of like a whole bunch of different characters and weapons. But we don't want to sell weapons and skins and stuff until the game is playable. Just as we just don't like the idea of just
Okay.
of selling stuff that you can't use. So what we decided instead is we have to do this alpha. We need people to help us test. So what we're doing now is this mint coming up this weekend is the Foundation mint. And basically, you get access to the closed alpha, you get the founder skin, and then it's like permanent whitelist, land sale whitelist. We'll do random airdrops every now and then of like items like weapons and things like that. But the idea is it's for the founding members of the community. And anytime that we release new content, like new maps, new move sets, we'll release it first as like a closed test to the foundation NFT holders. So it's for like the people that really want to help us build the game essentially. When we get into the first Genesis drop, which won't come until we move into open beta. So right now we're estimating around July. So we'll be in closed alpha for like the next 3 months or so, like 2, 3 months until we work out the bugs. Then we'll go into open beta. Then we'll do the Genesis drops, and that's where we'll start to have like this, like the 2 layers of pre-sale pass and then whitelist and then public mint.
Okay. And you said earlier that you built or you were inspired like when you saw Unreal Engine because yeah, that stuff's pretty awesome. Did you see the new Unreal 5? Have you guys
Yes,
thought about playing with that?
we're building it. We're in Unreal 5 now.
Ah,
Yeah, and
okay.
it actually is it's really cool. It's really really cool. They basically figured out. I mean, like it's almost like a streaming technology where they can stream in geometry, but
Yeah.
basically for static meshes, in other words, meshes that don't deform. It's like you can have like almost any number of polygons that you want. I mean, we've tested hundreds of millions of polygons in a scene. I know other people have done billions, and it pretty much doesn't matter. It's pretty remarkable.
Right. No, exactly. And you have like a very realistic scan kind of library of objects that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I mean, for us, what it does, I mean, you can make really detailed models and things like that, but it also just like makes, in a certain sense, the like the pipeline or the workflow of generating assets a little bit simpler because you don't have to worry so much
For
about
sure.
that step of going from like a very high, like most artists will do like a very highly detailed, like high poly model, they usually call it, and then they have to go into a low poly game ready asset. And now that step is just a lot simpler because you don't have to worry about polygon count so much. You worry about texturing it more than anything.
Exactly. Like it's like the layers that you would have to zoom into farther out don't have to be as highly
Yeah,
rendered.
it's like you basically they can almost go from like their high poly concept straight into the game, right? So it's just like it
Mm-hmm.
reduces like the workflow, and then you get better results. So you get just these really detailed models. So it's pretty cool. That's why I mean our artists were like, can we go to UE5, please? Like they were bugging us, and their developers were like, well, it's not stable yet, but finally it looks like UE5. I don't think it's officially released, but it's basically stable. I mean, we're working in actually we're pulling from the public GitHub repository, and we're actually working in UE 5.1 already.
No, awesome. And I see like 4 is compatible in 5's engine too. So it's like even if you were building.
Yeah, the actually transitioning wasn't a huge deal. A few things broke, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay, okay. That's good stuff. Your design and everything that you guys are doing is very interesting. I personally find it like cool that you can kind of tie in with other communities and things like this. You got the Karafuru collab that you kind of hinted at. What are you guys going to be doing with them?
I mean, right now we're just doing like some like whitelist giveaways and stuff like that. But we are working with any community that we think, excuse me, that has got like a cool style. We want to start doing these. like outreach kind of things where like we want to bring interesting ideas into Moonray. It's still like very very early for any of that. But those are the type of collaborations that we're looking for. So anyone that's got like a cool, a cool aesthetic, a cool visual style, and is interested in gaming, like we want to work with them basically.
Yeah, I was throwing out also like so you work with Animoca. Do you guys have any plans to be in any of their possible metaverses, or which metaverses type of play-ins, tie-ins?
Nothing concrete right now, and it's mostly like we're building like a very like particular style first. So it's like we've got to I think first establish our world, our aesthetic,
Sure.
our story, and some of the technical infrastructure, and then we're going to be doing more and more collaborations, with other metaverses. I don't think there's going to be that many technical challenges really. I mean, it's going to be work, but everyone's using basically the same programs, the same 3D, asset generation tools and things like that. So I think from a technical standpoint, it's going to be doable. It's more just like, do things align, visually? Does it make sense in terms of story and things like that? Like if we have a game that looks kind of like our sci-fi game, there's, what can you bring in that matches that look is basically how we think about it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And like you said, just to tie in, you're doing a second drop, and the other time that'll probably bring in the other elements or items that you're going to tie. Do you have a plan for like your tokenomics or breakdown for what the pay to E is going to be earning us, or do you have any type of ideas on the
Yeah, we
models?
do, and we're going to put out a white paper real soon. Like we have a pretty detailed white paper that we'll probably put up as a PDF. But then we also want to do some. We're working on making some more bite-sized summaries of how play to earn is going to work. It's always kind of like this balancing act. On the one hand, people love a lot of detail, but on the other hand, like things change really fast too. Like and as we refine ideas, we change things. So like we need to put out information, but we also want to make clear to everyone that's like, this is going to be a moving target that we're going to be changing all the time, especially with play to earn. Like right now, we're thinking we're going to keep it pretty simple in the first iteration, and also keep character progression pretty simple to start, because we're focusing on PvP combat. So it's going to be 2v2, 4v4, and we're going to test a 50-man map, battle royale. So
Yeah.
the tough part is like we'd like to have some progression, but you can't have it like when you're level one. Does it suck? Is the problem, right? Like I'm a level one character. Am I going to get my ass kicked? So we're probably going to have less progression in the PvP. So it's more the way that most PvP games are, where maybe I mean there's some progression. We think it's going to be mostly economic progression. Um, in other words, as you level up your character, it changes your loot drop percentages, and things like that. Like or the rewards you earn, but it's not going to be gameplay progression. And that'll gameplay progression will wait a little more until we have more of the open world MMO environments built up.
Yeah, man. As an early user, I'm down to hook up people, but it seems like a lot of the tilt towards whales and a lot of the P2Es can kind of hurt the long term revenue of the game and viability of the
And
platform.
we're really worried about like we're very conscious of play to win. In other words, like the
Yeah,
gameplay. Like we don't want to. I don't think. I mean, the way that we're designing it now is we're never going to sell any items that are more powerful than any other items. Just with the money. In other words, you can't buy a rare sword that will always beat any other sword. Any sword can be upgraded given enough time. Like if you put enough time into it, you can upgrade any sword basically. So the only thing that we really sell are visuals and time, if that makes sense.
for sure. Just to remind anyone, if you got any questions or want to jump in at any time, uh, it's an open stage. So I was gonna finish. I also know you had a partnership with Ten Walls, so it seems like you like techno and music. Are you guys gonna try to tie
Yeah, we
anything
are.
there?
And we have this whole. We're not going to do anything with it now, but we developed this whole system where we can like synchronize the visuals with the music. So there's different ways of doing it, but the simplest is with BPM. But you can kind of make the whole like the all the scenery like pulse, and then we have all those like fluid effects that we like to do, and we can make those like pulse with the music and stuff too. And we were playing a lot with it in like the single player modes when we were developing that, and it's a very cool. It's like it is kind of like a hypnotic kind of feel. So in PvP, it probably doesn't make as much sense. So I don't know what we're going to do with that in PvP, but at some point we'll do something with it. But definitely, like when you're running around the world and exploring it, it's just really cool. Like Ten Walls did like a really cool soundtrack, which it like builds. It goes down, it goes up. Like it's very like cinematic. So for like quests and like exploring the world, it really fits really well. But we'll see in PvP, probably not so much.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. We got Kai Kun up here who thinks wants to drop you a little question.
Go for it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good.
So I've got a small technical question. I remember a couple months back on your website, there was something about the game being on Bitcoin,
Yes.
and now that is nowhere to be found anymore. Can you explain what happened there? What made you change your mind?
Yeah, I mean, so that was basically we were working. I mean, we still are working with the Stacks blockchain. So I don't know if you're familiar with Stacks, but basically, it's technically a layer one, but it has a different consensus mechanism, which is called proof of transfer. So basically, ties one to one with Bitcoin. So in other words, like the Stacks blockchain ties into a Bitcoin block, and it can natively read what's happening on the Bitcoin block. So we're still working with them, and we're going to support Stacks NFTs. It's just for the functionality that we need right now, and some of the other things that we're building in the game. Basically, right now, Ethereum is the best option for us. The tools there are very well developed. A lot of the infrastructure that we need is in place. So we were going to start with Stacks first, and then add Ethereum, and now we're basically reversing it. We're starting with Ethereum, and we'll add Stacks later.
Is Stacks some kind? I'm not familiar with Stacks. Is it some kind of a SRK?
No, it's different. It's technically a layer one, but it uses a consensus mechanism where miners, like mining Stacks blocks, you use Bitcoin to mine Stacks blocks, and then the people that are providing security for the Stacks blockchain get that Bitcoin paid out to them. So it's basically transferring Bitcoin from one set of users to another set of users, and that's how the blockchain is secured. So it's a very interesting and like a very novel a consensus mechanism that basically ties it into a Bitcoin block. So every Stacks block references a Bitcoin block. But it's a little different from RSK, because I think RSK is that the one that there's one that's federated. Which is the federation? I always get RSK and Liquid confused, but it's not a federation and it's not merge mining.
Very cool. First time I've heard of the Stacks.
It's cool. I mean,
yeah, I've heard them work on like real estate stuff and things like that, right? I don't know if they've worked on gaming type, like high volume.
That's right. They're doing like city coins. If you guys have heard of that, like so Miami has the Miami coin, New York has New York coin. That's on the Stacks blockchain. Yeah. And it uses the same. It uses, they call it proof of transfer light, which is like a stripped down version of the proof of transfer protocol. But it's a very cool technology. I think as far as like adding like smart contract functionality to Bitcoin, and I think it's by far the best approach.
Thank you. I think it's very cool that you are exploring a lot of options here.
We definitely are multi-chain. Like we believe in blockchain in general.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for the question. Just interesting take. You seem to have a deep knowledge of the gaming space and blockchain space. Where do you feel like other projects that you have your eye on that you're like worried about or excited about in the NFT space that are doing kind of similar or different things from you?
I mean, our approach is like we don't really see any other blockchain projects right now as competitors, because we think the industry is so young and immature. Like we all need to work together to basically prove to mainstream gamers that blockchain gaming is a real thing. It's going to be a real thing. And I think we still have a lot of work to do collectively as an industry. So we're hoping that everyone does well, and that we can all like figure out how to onboard, like Web2 gamers in a way that's seamless, and hopefully without too many rug pulls along the way. Because right now, some of the mainstream, it's always, I guess, tough to tell from the people like complaining on Twitter or from like the gaming press, which has very like very, I think, one-sided views. But there is a negative perception to blockchain gaming among mainstream gamers. They think it's like it's a money grab, that it's a scam, et cetera, et cetera. But I also don't think that we've shown the potential of what blockchain can do.
Yeah, I think the quality of the graphics and gameplay are gonna like play a lot into that, and hopefully you guys are like working on kind of taking that up to the next level.
Definitely gameplay needs to get a lot better. I mean, I can understand like as a regular gamer, there's not many blockchain games, that you would play just for the game, the game itself. So I think that's definitely got to change. And then part of it's like people are releasing the games that are easiest to release. So, a ton of trading card games, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a limit as to how many trading card games we can have. And then after a while, it's like, there's not that much space for a ton of those kinds of games. But I think we're going to start seeing in the next couple of years more and more like, combat games and shooters and things like that, which are the games that I think they're. I mean, a little bit of violence is always good in my book.
So, like, how do you see us interacting and actually playing with your game? Are we going to have to download any type of VXCs? Is it a browser-based
No,
game?
it's a download. So it's going to be a PC download. Initially, it'll be on our website. We've got a launcher that we've built. So you download the launcher, it'll install everything, it'll update itself, etc. And that's how you'll play with the game. We'll do a Mac version, I think, pretty soon as well. But it'll be PC. Long term, we want to go to consoles. That's our long-term goal. So we're developing from a technical standpoint with consoles in mind. We'll never be able to run this in the browser unless maybe if those like streaming platforms get really good, like the game streaming. But even those, I don't know. So far, we're not like super blown away by them. So you won't need like a crazy PC, but like a GTX 10 series, like a 1070 should be fine.
And are you playing around with any of the headset type ideas, integrations?
I think it's still too soon, like for VR, for this kind of game. I think like maybe 2 more generations. I think VR will be where we would like it to be.
No, I hear you. Yeah, but you're not playing around with any like dev teams or kits that are looking into developing that.
No, not yet. I mean, we've got our hands full just getting this going.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So your timeline, you're still feeling strong that like the game is actually going to be out summer.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the alpha. I mean, we're testing it now internally across continents with our servers, and it's working well. So the alpha is going to launch next month. It'll break for sure, and then we'll fix it. And then I think we'll need a solid like 6 to 8 weeks of working out the bugs, and then that's when we can start to think, okay, we can move into an open beta. Maybe what we'll do is go into a closed beta first. So like. The alpha will only be open to like the 5,000 foundation NFT holders. Maybe we'll open it up a little bit beyond that just to kind of like stress test things a little bit more. And then we'll move into open beta by like July, August, something like that.
And open beta is you like, you said you have 50 people playing in each room, scaling out on the servers. How many people do you really plan on bringing into the ecosystem like that? Is it going to be an open game for everyone?
Yeah, once we're in open beta, just anyone can download. It's going to be free to play. The only thing is to take part in the economy, to take part in play to earn, things like that. You'll have to buy an NFT. And so we're figuring out exactly. It'll probably be like the free to play will probably be like a separate game mode, and you only get the common skin. So it's just enough to let you play the game and see that it's good and that's fun. But then if you really want to take part in the rest of the game, you've got to buy in.
Okay, fair enough. And do you have any other points you wanted to get out that I maybe didn't nail for you?
No, I mean just just the general idea is that we're really focused on trying to figure out the gameplay first and make sure the game is functioning properly. We're going to take it easy and go slowly with NFTs and anything having to do with any sort of token until we're sure that the gameplay is fun. I mean, number one, we want people to play the game because the game itself is fun. We want to be able to compete against any of the console titles or any of the PC titles out there. And once we're happy that we have good gameplay and that the multiplayer side of things is solid, like the multiplayer code is solid, the servers are solid, then we'll start rolling out the blockchain, the blockchain side of things. I think too many games kind of go the other way. Like they start with the blockchain first, and then they try and add game later. And I think that doesn't work too well.
Fair enough. Metacast, seems like you want to Castro. You seem like you want to ask a question here. You get rugged? I'll let him go. Fair enough. Look, you guys have a big project. I mean, it's interesting to me that you're minting out at a 0.15 price and you got like a lot of obviously internal costs and things going on. You took in money. How do you see like literally your runway working out?
We are we're raising money. For us, this NFT is kind of just a little bit just for the hell of it, in a sense. Like it's not part of our funding plans, if that's what you mean. What we wanted to do was figure out a way to get an initial community that can help us test the game and give us feedback. So we thought, well, if we're a blockchain company, let's do it with an NFT. But we are raising money now to have a 3-year run rate with absolutely no revenue coming in. Just basically, it's like if the entire world blows up and the crypto markets completely crash, we can still deliver the game. And then when everything turns around, we'll be ready. And we don't think that's going to happen, obviously, and we are going to have revenue coming in, but we're just kind of planning for the worst case.
Gotcha. That's good. Total associated but maybe random question for you, just since I'm an ape. I'm wondering, any plans for a moon token? Or an airdrop to us? I mean, obviously you're airdropping items and you're actually adding value with, for the collection. Just wondering, long term, do you see this as like a game ecosystem?
We do see that it makes sense at some point for there to be tokens involved and NFTs involved. Nothing that our company can do, but it's I wouldn't be surprised if something does happen along those lines.
Okay, perfect. Let me get this guy. I think we got another requested guy here.
I actually have a question for all of you. Not to tell me now, but like we're thinking of doing something with the comic book. Like we're going to print it physically at some point, but we've been thinking about doing something with NFT collections based on the comic as well. So if you guys have any ideas for what you think would make sense for like a comic NFT, comic book, we're thinking like maybe we collect each book, like so every like 22 pages that becomes a book, and we do like just some sort of just small limited edition NFT collection just for fun, really, just for the collectors. But if you guys have any ideas, as to what other cool things you've seen people do with comic books, let us know. Drop us a line.
Well, yeah, if you've seen what Pixel Vault did, don't do that.
Oh, no, there was we haven't seen like web punks, right? I've been looking at that a little bit, but not Pixel Vault. I'll have to check that out.
Actually, what's it called? Bored Ape Comics? Is that the one? Bored Ape Comics is doing an IRL drop with Variant, I think, soon.
Or
Valiant?
Yeah. Okay, no, sorry. So Pixel Vault is Punk's Comics. Never mind. Okay, that is the one I've been looking at. Yeah. So
yeah,
what don't you like about that?
Just that it's them. But it actually got too complicated with the factor of burning and following through on too many projects. But like, the idea of it being a collectible Punk's comic, simply enough, was kind of cool in the beginning.
Yeah, I do see they're doing something with the apes. Yeah, I mean, we just want to do something just simple. I mean, we're going to release the comic for free because we want people to read the story. But just like, I don't know, we'll put something out real simple, just like for anyone that wants to collect it, just for fun.
For sure. And you did like a Poe app and things like that too. I was just wondering, do you have any tie-in with what you're going to do with the Poe app? Are you giving us
there is, we made, this is the kind of stuff that we're probably doing like with airdrops as well, like for the foundation NFT. Okay. We did do a Poe app. Our community team, I forget exactly what the deal was with that, but I know they have been, we did something with a Poe app. I think we're going to be doing more.
So it's like, hold on to it maybe.
Yeah, exactly. In general, just, hold it. Something will happen.
And I got it Archaic here. Archaic 1. You want to ask a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Quick question. I just wanted to know, like, are you thinking maybe 3 to 5 years from now, are you thinking about exploring maybe virtual reality, like having a separate game or experience where you can enter virtual reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think first we'll do some sort of mobile app or mobile version of the game. It might be a little bit different, but something mobile first, and that's probably like a year and a half out. Virtual reality at some point is going to be really cool. I just still think it's too early. Part of the thing is like you need to have 90 frames per second for each eye. So that's why most VR graphics are relatively simple. And for me, it's kind of like we want the graphics to look a certain way before we jump into virtual reality. But when you do VR, I mean, it is so immersive that it's really, really cool. So at some point, it's going to make sense. But I still think it's like 1 or 2 generations away from it making sense for our game. But that's one of the reasons that we like Unreal Engine is it's, once you have it working in Unreal, deploying to other platforms, It's not easy, but it's like 80% of the work has been done. So it'll be a little more straightforward to do a version 4 VR when VR hardware is up to up to snuff. As long as we don't have too many more supply disruptions with GPUs.
Oh, that actually seems really cool. Well, that was basically my only question. But yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Have a good day.
Yeah, man, there you go. Guys are doing a large undertaking for like a game building, and I don't think there's that many other companies, maybe like Big Time and a few that are coming after the space in the same way. And yeah, I'm excited to see like a high quality game actually playable.
Yeah, I mean the key is to do it in stages, right? I mean that's why we're starting with PvP, because it's like we'll start with 2v2, right? And it's a lot more straightforward to release that and then scale from there. Like if you want to jump straight into an MMO, that's a 4-year project. I mean,
Right.
it's a ton of work. But if you do it in stages, you get PvP going, and then you just build up more maps and more move sets, and then you do the first open world environment. We want to be showing off, like we're designing now the art for the first Metaverse City. So we want to be demoing that, like a tech demo, by the end of summer, maybe early fall. By then, we'll be in open beta, and we'll be able to have 100 people per map. And we'll basically that's probably like the kind of thing like the foundation holders will get. Like you'll be able to run around, just let 100 people run around in the first metaverse, embedded in a large environment. But once you have like solid PvP gameplay, it's not easy, but it's like relatively straightforward to then like add basically bigger maps. But you already know the combat's going to work out. So if you just kind of do it in stages, then it's doable, and then we'll kind of slowly build out the MMO open world environments. But at some point, I think like 2 years from now is when we'll really start accelerating that. But we'll see how the industry looks at that point. We'll hopefully we have solid NFT sales, and then we can fund it more easily.
For sure. And so like the mobile game is like something that you're planning on doing, not it's still NFT tied in.
Yeah, it'll be like we've got a bunch of ideas, but we're not going to start that for like at least a year and a half, I don't think. But basically we want to have different entry points into Moonray. The mobile market's huge. So we'll probably do something. We're thinking more of like a twin stick shooter, because I've always really liked it. We actually have a twin stick shooter developed. I think we're probably just going to port that to mobile, but it'll still be set in the same world. But so a little different gameplay, but still like tying into NFTs and stuff, tying into like the same Moonray NFTs, but in a mobile version essentially.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good call. So we don't have any crazy game enthusiasts that want to grind you on one last question here?
We're going to release Wednesday. We're going to drop the latest gameplay, trailer. So you guys will get to see kind of how things are looking. But we're really happy. I mean, the combat right now, it's looking really smooth. We're getting most of the technical issues, figured out. But that's what this alpha's for. It's like, we're testing it right now with like 8 of us at a time, and it works fine. And we're going like Europe to the US, and even one of our guys in Australia, and it's working fine. But it's like, what happens when 500 people join, 1,000 people join? That's when things blow up. So the alpha should be fun.
For sure. Kai, looks like you got another one. Step up. Tell us
Yes,
what's up.
hello again. I've got kind of a bit of a selfish request / desire. I know you're all very busy internally. However, as you are building on top of this new technology, as in blockchain gaming, would it be possible to have kind of a documentation or a Medium article, a frequent one, perhaps once a month or something, that you talk about your design choices, why you did what, and yeah, do you think that's something that will be possible?
I really should. I've had it on my to-do list for like the last 5 months to start doing regular blog posts of some sort. I think what we're going to start doing is a lot more AMAs like this. But yeah, I understand. I mean, a lot of people do ask us like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And it's something that we got to start communicating this with the community a little more. So why we're making certain decisions now that we're going to have an actual playable game too. That's part of the reason that we want to get the game out early, even if it's in an alpha state, because we want to get feedback from people. And let them know why is this character playing like this? Why this moveset? Why this combat design choice? And then we also have time to change it, and to adapt based on feedback. But yeah, I mean, we definitely. I don't know if we're gonna do blog posts or Medium posts, but I think we're gonna start doing more regular AMAs, probably in our own Discord, and then with partners like MVHQ and stuff like that. And basically, it's like I've got to just book it on my calendar, and then I'll actually show up. Otherwise, I'm never gonna write the blog post. AMAs are easier.
Totally, man. That's one thing I did notice in your Discord, that you have like people kind of interacting with photos, right? So they're posting up like backgrounds and images. Are you getting ideas for background scenes, or what are you
Yeah, I
doing?
mean, we like to, people always love to, like to contribute and stuff like that. We love seeing that. Most of the ideas right now, I mean, we have some really cool concept artists that are working with us, and then we have the comic artists, so like they're kind of like going back and forth. So that's where most of the ideas come from. But yeah, I mean, we are going to be like building out the Discord more and more as time goes on with more community contributions and things like that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Offer more, allow less. We always will show up. We're all very happy to hear from Moonray, though. Listen, if anyone else has any questions, I think we covered most of it, unless you want to drop something about some secret alpha that you haven't told us
No, I
yet.
mean, nothing I can legally disclose.
Okay, so what about illegally? If it's not financial advice, I think it's okay.
Once Elon takes over, then we can talk more freely. Maybe, at least on Twitter.
Fair enough.
No, yeah, I mean, basically, just we're gonna announce. I don't know. I mean, I gotta check with our developer. We're gonna announce the alpha date, like when we're gonna open up the alpha, like real soon. But I think it's gonna be. I mean, we're just a few weeks away. We're just working on the last minute things with like the launcher, making sure that the logins are working well. We've got wallet integration working well. So I mean, everything's in place, and we're just doing some last minute like polishing to the combat and to like the multiplayer code. But we're really excited to get the game into people's hands. Have the first people. We're only going to release, I think, with the very first alpha, like just one map. The second map is going to come like within a few weeks after we drop the alpha. But then we're just going to be adding content on a regular basis, new maps, new move sets. We have the next 3 move sets planned out: a long range attack move set, a magic, and then a tank class. So once we have that, we'll have I think the first basic range of character combat specialists. So from there, we just really want to see people playing it and see what people like and what they don't like.
For sure, man. I think you got a dedicated audience. We minted this out in October.
Yeah, it was
right?
a while.
So
yeah,
it takes time. We get it. You're building something good.
Yeah.
Don't disappoint it when it comes out.
We won't. No, it's gonna be.
Take your time.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And listen, the good thing is, like, we had like our developers were stress testing like the servers like last week, and they ended up staying for like 20 extra minutes just playing because they were having fun. And when I see that, it's like, okay, that's good. I think that's a good sign. Like, I think we're on the right track, right? I mean, it's like, first, hey, you guys should be working, but that's fine. All right, a 20-minute break is fair.
Don't beat my high score.
So I'm really happy with the way that where combat's going. I mean, like, again, like what we keep saying internally is we're not competing against blockchain games. We're competing against Elden Ring, Assassin's Creed, For Honor. That's what we're competing against. Like, that's what people are playing now. We want them to come play Moonray instead.
100%. It's got to be high quality for people to really want to engage all the time, and like that's the point of this NFT space, right? Like we're here.
Yeah, it's got to be better than Web 2, otherwise there's no point. So,
all right, man, appreciate it. Last chance for anyone to speak their last piece. I think we're pretty much done and okay.
Cool.
With
Then,
it.
but if anyone has any other questions come up, just feel free to shoot us a message on Discord. Just ping me in Discord, and I'll get to it when I can.
Sounds good, man. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, you guys. Thanks, guys.